Hello, I am Umbrenero, and welcome back to Umbrenero's Life. Today's video is homemade pizza. So, we make a lot of pizzas from scratch because of various food allergies and things we have to deal with. So, this is kind of what we do for this. We started off in our mixer here is we threw some salt in and I believe some sugar. And then I added some oil and we added some butter just to give the crust a little bit of a flavor, because we didn't want this to be a bready tasting dough. We wanted it to actually taste pretty good. So in our mixer, we threw those couple things in first, added some Italian seasoning, and before we even started, we tried to have our yeast start blooming so that way it was all good to go for when we were going to start mixing everything. We also did add some garlic powder just for a little bit more flavor. And I did a quick mix of it before we started adding the yeast and the flour. But like I said, there are some food allergies that we have to play around, and we've learned that this recipe works for us. It's a recipe we've actually started to modify with flavors to get it to fit what we like. So we started with 2 cups of flour just to start getting it mixed together. And then we did end up adding some more because it was not getting fully incorporated. And yes, every once in a while we did stop, scrape down the sides just to make sure there was no flour hiding somewhere and all of that. Added a 1/3 cup, and this much dough will make it so we can make 2 pizzas. But as you're seeing here, it started to actually look like a dough and not just a wet ball of liquid. So we had to do a little springiness test on it, see if it was springing back, and it was. And one of the food allergies that we have to play around is gluten allergy. So this is a gluten-free pizza crust, and very simple, and the recipe we had from my husband's family that used regular flour, we have it down to a 1-to-1 replacement. But here, quickly put it into a different bowl to go and let it rise for a couple hours while we were taking care of a couple other things in the house before we actually were going to eat. And of course, plastic wrap never rips correctly, so it's a multi-person job. but we had it nice and covered up, so we put it away for a little while. Here, this was about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, so it did rise, and we needed to start getting the crust rolled out and everything. So we had the oven preheating to, I believe it was 425, and I had went and cooked a few ingredients for my pizza because I wanted something more supreme-like. He wanted a pepperoni. So we split the dough in half and started pressing it out. And we've learned to actually use some of the cooking spray on our hands so it doesn't stick to us. But you can make it as thin or as thick as you want. And for me, I like my pizzas thinner. He likes his a little bit thicker. So it works very well this way. So as we were doing all of this, I was trying to keep stuff picked up as we were going, so we didn't have to clean up everything at the very end, which is fine. And then it was time for sauce. I have to have a lot of sauce on my pizza, otherwise it's too dry for me. It's just one of those weird little quirks I have that my husband knows about. But for him, he can have his sauce spread very, very thin and is perfectly fine with it. Which, that's his personal choice. Because then he went in with his cheddar cheese. And he'll only use cheddar cheese for pizza because, once again, because of certain food things, allergy-wise, it just makes sense for him. But I go in and start throwing in my veggies and all of that and put my pizza mix of cheese on top. And he starts with his pepperoni. And yes, we make our own flavors that we like, and then we have leftovers to eat up during the week. And, sometimes you just need that quick thing to have for dinner instead of making something from scratch. So he needed more cheese. I had to go run and grab it for him. And I needed more cheese, so I had to go grab myself a second bag as well. But then on top, I put more of my veggies and sausage mix, just so that way I have it scattered throughout. And then here he started throwing some pepperonis on mine, just so that way I could have a couple. But then we add quick little dustings of Italian and garlic, just for extra flavor on the crust and the edges of the pizza itself. Then it's time to throw them in. About 15 minutes later, this is how they looked when they came out of the oven. Yes, on my pizza, you can see the cheese did melt off the edges, but I'm fine with that. It's actually pretty good when that happens for me. And since his crust was a little bit thicker, it was taking a little longer to finish. So mine was done first, and it's like, yep, let's just get this cut and all set. And I did wait, for the most part, for his pizza to be done so that way we could actually eat together. And then there is his pepperoni pizza directly from the oven that he started to cut. And yes, the only downfall of the cheese going past the crust is it did stick to the pan a little bit more, so I had to fight to get them to release, but that's fine. In all, both pizzas were very delicious. And it's something that we can easily go back to and make more of. So, thanks for watching, and until next time, I am Umbrenero. Bye!